Michael, this is a day that I think a lot of us have been waiting for. It's an exciting day for the city, and I'm sure for the Austin Police Association as well. A tentative agreement has been reached. Can we kind of talk about the last details that are being ironed out right now, or what you feel are the most important?
Yeah, I mean, right now, all that's happening is throughout this process, there's a lot of different drafts that go back and forth. So we all believe we understand the ones that we're on. But right now, it's really just the formalities of making sure that we are all on the same page and we understand exactly what draft is moving forward to be ratified by both the city council and then members of the Austin Police Association.
So these conversations, I mean, it's been a couple of weeks, maybe days that we've been back at the negotiating table. Could you have imagined that agreement would be a tentative one would be reached so quickly? Are you kind of surprised by the timeline of things?
No, quite honestly, it's taken longer than we probably would have liked, but we're glad to be here. That we've been bargaining for 6 months. March is when we started. There's been a lot of things that have happened over the last few weeks that have kind of accelerated this to where we have reached a tentative agreement. But overall, takes a lot of work to get to this point, and so I am glad that we're finally here. So no agreement is perfect. Takes work on both sides. So it takes, like I said, a lot of effort, a lot of time in order to get to this place, but I'm glad that we're here.
I know there was some pushback when it came to talking about pay increases, when it came to talking about the G file. What were some of the hurdles, the issues that were brought up that the APA felt we had to overcome in order to get to this point?
I mean, our goal is always to make sure that officer rights are protected. And that's always been one of the biggest things that we have talked about in ensuring that there are processes and there are protections built in to where officers are treated fairly and they're given the ability to actually do the very difficult job that they are being asked to do without unfair scrutiny or punitive punishment that may come along with it. So that's one of our primary goals, is to make sure that that's a process that is fair and that it's understood by both sides, and then making sure that we're able to put things in place that are going to help us get out of the staffing crisis that we are in, and ultimately the public safety crisis that we find ourselves in here in Austin. So that's where a lot of the components, and then compensation are big. They're big topics. They're the two biggest items that we will talk about in any contract negotiation. So those are always going to be two that are going to take the most time.
When it comes to, like you said, compensation, previously in other labor negotiations, we've seen, a 7% base increase. We've seen, 12%. From our sources, we're hearing that there's 28 on the table. Is that right for base pay?
Correct.
And 2,000 for signing bonus per officer?
Correct.
And so this is a large increase than what we've seen previously. How are we able to get this decided on and have the city agree with that?
I mean, the biggest thing that you have to look at is that over the years, Austin has fallen behind. The association and officers have been willing to completely forego pay raises in the past because, the city had asked it and there was a variety of different things that went into it. But over the years, like, we've just become where we're not the most competitive. And part of that is what's contributing to our staffing crisis right now. You have to be able to attract quality people to come to a large city to come police in the circumstances that APD officers are being asked to police in. And that's one of the biggest factors in all of this, is that we live in a volatile city. It's got politics. We have officers that are being targeted. We have high expectations. Like, there are a lot that goes in to being an officer here with APD. And historically, when we have been one of the best paid in the state, we were able to recruit, but now we have fallen behind and we're no longer as competitive as we once were. And so people are looking elsewhere. So we have to be able to recruit people to come here, as well as we have to make sure that people want to stay here. And when the pay has been lacking is where we start to see more people want to leave. We see people that are not staying here as long as they once were. So this is a very critical component to the department being able to get out of a staffing crisis by keeping the people that we currently have, valuing our current employees, and then attracting new people to want to come here.
A vital part, I would say, of this contract would be that specifically. And it's a massive jump, but like you said, it's recognized that it's necessary. Do you think the city has come to the understanding that now is a dire time to get this agreed upon, especially with the provisions that the APA has listed like that increase because of the increase in crime that we've seen?
Yeah, like I said, I think I quite honestly, we've waited long enough, right? And that's where this process, like, now it's in the hands of city council, and this is not something that needs to continue to drag on, because it is. It's very important. We've seen that having a contract is one of the most critical components to being able to recruit new people to come here. And only by bringing new people in are we going to be able to address a lot of these other issues. So I do want us to see this continue to move forward as quickly as we can and make sure that we're able to begin a new process of bringing new people in and being able to advertise with potential recruits about the benefits of coming here and making sure that people first and foremost understand that this is also a recognition of valuing the people that have stayed here.
And one of my last questions for you, Michael, is it's been over a year since officers have been working without this labor agreement. And within this time, they've missed out on pay increases that other city employees have gotten. Now that we're finally reaching this agreement, how do you think this will play out in improving retention, improving recruitment? And do you think the city will agree on this come October 10th?
I hope so. I think, quite honestly, I think that the concept is being proven. People have, our retirement rates have slowed since we started talking about these potential pay increases. So we're already seeing that people recognize, like, hey, this is, it is worth it to stay here, right? Like this has a dramatic effect on our attrition rate. So I think we're already seeing that. And if it doesn't get ratified, then you're just going to see, the trends that we've been dealing with continue on, where we're going to wind up losing more people than we're able to hire, and that's just not sustainable. So like, I am hopeful that council recognizes that this is a critical contract, that we cannot have a repeat of the last two that we have gone through, because if officers go through this a third time where we've reached a tentative agreement, it goes before council and it does get voted down, or they don't take any action on it, then quite honestly, I'm not sure we're going to enter a space where we're really ever going to be able to recover. Like, it's just, is that critical of an issue, and we can't repeat the same problems that we've been repeating.
So well said. And is there anything else that you want to add that maybe I haven't yet asked you, but you think is important to note?
I think I said it already, but I mean, to me, the biggest thing is no contract is perfect. We've been through this process many times before. It's been more difficult in recent years, but no contract is perfect. It requires compromise on both sides. But at the end of the day, I do believe this sets us up for success and moving into a better space. So, but it's going to be in the hands of city council, and it's going to be in the hands of our entire department for the officers to vote on to see if they truly are in agreement with the direction that we say that we're headed. So I'm optimistic. We're still moving forward. So we're looking forward to seeing the next steps play out.
Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and get the latest news by downloading the CBS Austin News app.